This is Youthology Live on Sunday nights. 12 minutes of learning, right? So text a friend right now. Come on, text a friend right now. Tell them to join us. You know the format. You can join us live right here, Sunday night. I'm in the East. I'm in Michigan. It's 10 p.m. here. It is 9 p.m. Central. It is West Coast, dude, 7, right? So you got nothing to do right now before you go to bed. Pull up online, mobile, watch us, Youthology Live, 12 minutes of learning. Tonight we are talking about the dynamics of a youth service, okay? So thank you for joining. I see friends coming already. I appreciate it. Again, hurry, text somebody before we get into this too far, right? And hey, great report from last week. I got to tell you, talked to a youth leader who watched the recording last week, our live session last week, on the website. Okay, so most of you know, after we do this teaching, I break it down and I put graphics in it, I put all the points to it, and I download it to YouTube and to youthology.com. And a youth leader was looking at our site, wanting to bring us in for some youth leadership coaching, caught up on all the episodes. He actually said most of them. And it really gave him a familiarity of what we're doing, you know? So these are really helping. I talked to a youth leader also last week who watched us live with their youth leadership team. So I don't know if any other teams are joining us, but if you are, hey, look, maybe you got snacks there in the room or whatever, or you're joining with your team leaders meeting at a house or at the church or whatever. Thank you for doing this. Okay, tonight, Youthology Live, Sunday night, 12 minutes of learning, and I've shot 2 minutes already, right? So this is tonight, the dynamics of an effective youth service. This is episode 13 already, right? The dynamics of an effective youth service. I'm just gonna give you 2, all right? I'm gonna give you 2. And the blog will break it down later this week, and you'll be able to see about 6 or 7 more, okay? Maybe I'll get up to 10 and round it off and give you a few more. But tonight, I want to give you dynamics and putting together a effective youth service. This is something I get asked all the time. The church that I was in this weekend, doing some coaching and preaching, I just got out of their youth service. They have a Sunday night youth service. Dynamic, dude, what a blast tonight with those students. And one of the youth leaders asked me, hey, you know, wow, tonight was amazing. You know, how do we do this, you know? And I said, hey, watch tonight. So I don't know if they're watching tonight, but here are 2 things out of many that you can follow up on the blog this week, YouTube or youthology.com, that will give you an effective, dynamic youth service. Number 1, theology. And number 2, theatrics. Okay, number 1, theology, and number 2, theatrics. Let me break those down a little bit, okay? Because you would think that theology and theatrics would be enemies, but they're not. Theology and theatrics are not enemies. And sometimes we would see it that way. We would see it as left brain theology, right? Or right brain theatrics and the creatives, right? That's not, listen, you can have both mutually representative in a youth ministry. Okay, both of them working together. As a matter of fact, I don't believe you can have a dynamic youth ministry without both theology and theatrics. Okay, so let me break that down. What I mean by theology is spiritual formation. Okay, some kind of Bible teaching, Bible preaching, right? The study of God. Theology, theos, God, ology, the study of. Theology is simply the study of God. So if we're going to have a dynamic youth ministry, spiritual formation begins with the study of God, introducing God to our students. I know this sounds foreign, but if you know Gen Z, okay, the younger brothers and sisters of the millennials, if you know Gen Z, they are coming from a completely different relationship with theology, with God, okay? The definitions of God have changed. Right? When 30%, okay, these are the best statistics we can find, 30% of Christian teenagers in America only know half the 10 Commandments. 30% of teenagers in America can only name half of the 10 Commandments. So we got to issue that's a problem, right? And I believe that first area of having an effective, dynamic youth ministry is theology, the study of God, right? Here's some ways to do that. Think about adding into your services, whenever they are, Wednesday night, Friday night, Sunday morning, whenever you pull off that service setting, think of in series, think in themes, think in topics, think in collaboration. Collab, right? Listen, if the youth leader, youth pastor, is only speaking his or her mind, verses, stories, all of that comes to the student is coming from one person all the time, that's a limitation. Do you see the limitation? It's my language. It's where I draw and study from my favorite verses, or illustrations, and it becomes familiar with the students. But collaboration in all of these things, series, topics, themes, the different kinds of things you're going to do with the study of God, if you get a collaborative team to help you, it will bring a tremendous amount of teamwork and a university of minds set to the messaging, okay? Listen, I believe that we need both preaching and teaching in youth ministry. Huge difference. I know some people say preaching is when I'm fast and loud, and teaching is when I'm slow and at a pace. Preaching and teaching is not about pace. I want you to see it this way. The definition for preaching is the delivery of a principle, the delivery of a principle in a declarative way. The delivery of a principle in a declarative way. How much conviction are you bringing into Wednesday night? How much conviction, how much ownership into that message, that series, that scripture that you're using, right? That text. How much conviction are you bringing into that message? Whereas teaching would be instructional, okay, in the laying out of principles in a less dynamic way, okay, in a less declarative way, and maybe a more thoughtful way, in a more discussive way. Whereas preaching is not discussive, okay? Whereas teaching can be more laboratory, classroom setting, mentoring, coaching, discipleship. I know those are different than teaching, but so see that, okay? So the first dynamic that we need to bring to a youth ministry is theology, the study of God, spiritual formation, okay? Getting the students into the Word, getting students into Scripture and not just culture. I had a senior pastor tell me this week, we were looking at a guy, we were going to hire this student pastor, and I sat in on 2 services in a row, and he talked about Spider-Man and the Avengers. The word came up in passing, and I said to the guy, that's it? This is the lead saying to this person who's going to hire, that's it, right? So anyway, theology is that first dynamic to a great youth service. And again, I'll blog more on, I'll break that down too. Second, theatrics. Now you would think if I said theatrics, that is just the opposite of what we were just talking about, but that's not true, okay? Theology and theatrics don't have to be enemies. So let me explain that. Jesus was a master teacher. The parables, right? The stories, okay? So one of the things that we have to get better at in youth ministry is telling stories. Okay, now I don't mean fibs and lies, and right, but telling story. How to take the scriptures and the text that you're using with the students and break that down in their language today. How to bring the first century into the 21st century and the 21st century into the context of the first century, okay? It's just sociology. And I believe that youth leaders should be the greatest sociologists on the planet. Think about that, okay? Let that process. Creativity, or the theatrical side, the second part, okay? creativity in youth ministry is a must. It is a must. So here's a few things. As I said, storytelling, spoken word. You have students who can do spoken word, art. Bring art into the youth ministry. You have students who are artistic. Music, man, we have to reach students with music. I told the students tonight, you need to turn your bedroom into a prayer room. And a student came up afterwards like, how do I do that? And I said, get a playlist. Put a playlist on Spotify. Put a playlist, on iTunes or whatever. And build into your bedroom. Build this worship setting, right? And if you fell asleep worshiping every night, can you imagine the impact that would be on your life, your spiritual formation? So why should the youth service be any different? We cannot just pull off a youth service that is devoid of music and worship. I love to say it this way. We don't have to teach kids to worship. Students know how to worship. We have to teach them how to worship God. Okay, two different things, because they worship themselves, they worship icons, right? All these things. So teaching students to worship, give their life to something isn't the issue. We have to teach students to worship God. That's more of what we're trying to do as youth ministry. Student involvement is a great way to do creativity in youth ministry. Student involvement is huge. So it's not just one person, it's not just you, right? Superman or Wonder Woman running everything. Multiple people involved. There's some theatrics part of the dynamic youth service. Here, let me give you one more. The more you use flow or transitions or bumper, okay, it doesn't take much time, and you can put a bumper playlist together of countdowns, 30-second transitions between announcements, between worship, between the message. As the students are walking in, as they're walking out. Tonight, we walked out playing, Owl City's Hello Seattle. If you've not heard the remix, dude, sorry, this is not like a push for Owl City, although I know a couple of guys there that were awesome dudes, right? Owl City's Hello Seattle remix. Dude, we walked into the youth service with that 2 minutes of warm up, and we walked out of it kicking and slamming, and the kids are jumping, right? So anyway, work on your flow and your dynamics of your creativity through music, okay, and playlists. So anyway, this was how to have a dynamic, effective youth service. And again, I'll post this, okay? I'm gonna put this up on youtube.com/Jeff Grinnell, and then also on youthology.com too. You'll see that there, so go there, all right? Hey, thank you for joining us. Man, this means so much to me when you take however much time you took to see this or to watch it later this week, to interact. It's humbling to me that you would take the time out, okay? So, from Michigan, all right, on the road, just gotta say thank you for watching tonight, and check out the content, the rest of the content later this week at youthology.com or youtube.com/Jeff Grinnell, okay? Hey, peace. Have a great youth service this week. Put some of these things into place, okay? These things that we talked about. And sorry I'm hurrying. Like I told you, I just walked into the hotel room, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so anyway, this is real. This is really live tonight, okay? So, you have an awesome week. Youthology Live, Sunday night.